I want to make sure that I acknowledge the sponsor of the show, Tiege Hanley, because Tiege Hanley sent me this new pack. They sent me the new Tiege pack, so I just literally pulled the paper out, got it out of the mail, and I started going through it, and I got a little bit more excited than I should. You know what I'm saying? So they did send me the Tiege pack, and I don't even know what this is yet. So I'm assuming this is what you get when you first order your Tiege, and I don't know what this is. Oh, this is dope. This is absolutely dope. Is this a nail kit? Ladies, get this for the fellas. Fellas, don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. This is free. This just comes with it. 30% off your first order, plus 20% off for life. Literally. Oh, snaps. I didn't know that they were sending it like this. Real talk. So this is the nail kit that they sending you. All right. So now you ain't looking like a dusty. This is a free gift straight from Tiege for the people that ordered the Tiege. They got the small one for the little hands like mine's. They got the big joints for your toenails. And then they got the joints at the bottom too. You know what I'm saying? For y'all that's a little bit more crustier than usual. All right, so that's one of the free gifts that Tiege got inside of the pack. And then, what is this? Says squeeze a quarter-size amount of Tiege Hanley body wash on the center of the wet bristles. Lather, scrub, rinse, and repeat for the perfectly satisfying wash every time. So that's inside of there also, right? Ooh, I can get my rubber ducky on right here. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Tiege for sending me that uncomplicated skincare for men. And then what we got in here? We got the actual Tiege pack, right? So this is the normal Tiege pack, but then they gave me the supersized joint for the people. They wanted me to show the people exactly what they got when they ordered that first Tiege pack, when you're getting your 30% off your first order, and then you get your free gifts. You get 2 free gifts, and then the 20% off for life. So the 20% off for life is a new thing. And dang, I ain't even got my keys on me to open this up. Maybe I can use the little nail clipper thing. I ain't got to buy no nail clipper for my new joint downtown. And then you get all of the washes, all of the scrubs, all of the AM, the PMs, and all of that stuff. So you got the whole thing inside of there for you to make sure you take care of yourself. But you got to make sure you take care of it every day. Right? We don't want to miss days. We don't want to be looking like dusties. It does not absolve you from being able to make sure that you brush your teeth. Brush your teeth. It don't fix the teeth problem. Don't fix you ironing your clothes. Don't fix you being able to take care of your business. But it absolutely makes sure that your skin is phenomenal, even when you go in between shaves. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Tiege Hanley. We absolutely appreciate you. Thank you for continuing to hold us down. I might do an official Tiege commercial, but I like just talking authentically to the people. I like giving the people the authentic look of what it is that you're dealing with, and I want you to hear from me personally, because anybody can do that little pitch and they can make some little videos, but very few of us can actually speak to the products of exactly what it is that you're supposed to use. So yeah, Tiege Hanley, 30% off your first order, and then 20% off for life. That's the Anton Daniels pack, 20% off for life. Using any other Tiege pack, make sure that you go ahead and let that go. And make sure you tap into the link that's in the description and take care of it, all right? What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I want everybody to give themselves a round of applause for making it through the weekend, especially if you live in Chicago, Memphis, New York, Oakland, California, all of those places. Oh my gosh. It's been crazy all weekend, but guess where we was at? We was in the crib. We was in the house. A lot of people said, Anton, are you streaming this weekend? I said, not only am I streaming this weekend, but I'm double streaming this weekend. You know why? Because it's easier for me to stay in the house and kick it with my people, having fun, than it is for me to be out here in these streets, man. So give yourselves a round of applause for making it for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I'm pondering. You said Philadelphia had a rough weekend too. Hey, let me know how y'all feeling inside. Matter of fact, you know what? Scratch that. Y'all let me know where y'all checking in from because I need to know if y'all were safe, if y'all had bullets whizzing by. Cartez Cookies sent me some cookies. I got some hoodies. I'm going to be debuting everything this week. So I'm going to be highlighting all of the people that sent me something, whether it was just to promote or whether it was for y'all, for my birthday or whatever. I definitely want to acknowledge y'all. And let me also say that I appreciate y'all. Absolutely appreciate y'all for showing me love and adding value into my life. And all of the support, all of the love, all of the blessings, every single person that tapped in, I appreciate you guys. You guys are the greatest ever. I see the DMV is in the building. How was the DMV this weekend? Heard there's a lot of crime out there. Iowa, what up? Atlanta, Georgia, South Carolina had a rough weekend too. So y'all telling me when the weather changed that people just automatically start getting out of control. We'll get there. We'll get there. Florida says Universal Trappers. Atlanta, ATL, Detroit. Detroit was pretty quiet this weekend, I believe. Yeah, shout out to Detroit. Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Fayetteville, Charlotte, Baltimore, Toronto, Pittsburgh, Bay Area, Northern Ireland. Shout out to my Ireland people. Shout out to Island Girl Q, Island Gal Q for holding me down. I appreciate her. Let me give a shout out to all of my people that live stream with me. Q, Mika, Quentin, Slimmy, Smitty, all of the callers, everybody. Shout out to y'all. Columbus, Ohio, Memphis, North Carolina, D.C., Kansas City, Harrison Township. Shout out to Harrison Township in Michigan. Houston, that's where Q is from, or where Q is at. Listen, y'all, don't let her keep saying Pearland. Nope, we giving her Houston. Minnesota, YouTube women starting fights. Oh man, I'm from Chicago, Sumter, South Carolina. What up? What up? What up to everybody checking in? Montreal, Dallas, West Palm, Marietta, West Bloomfield is real safe. Yeah. Searcy, Arkansas. I need to go and visit Arkansas. What's happening in Arkansas? I'm going to visit Arkansas. Let's see. What is this? April, May, June. Sometime in May and June. I got to see what's happening in Arkansas. What up, sister? What up, baby girl? Trenton, New Jersey, Oklahoma City, Motor City, Detroit, Youngstown, Ohio, Durban, South Africa, Nashville, Pittsburgh, everywhere, all across the world. I appreciate every single last one of y'all that's tapping in and showing your boy love. It is love right back to you. You guys are the greatest group of people that I could ever hang out with. I want to give a shout out to my dog, Michael. Shout out to Michael on the Cash App. I appreciate you for the early Cash App. Also, my dog, Mike That Dude. Shout out to Mike That Dude. I appreciate you too, family. All right, y'all. Y'all ready to get started with the show? All right, before we get started with the show, let me say this. We're going to keep it 100% money on this channel because I got a lot of smoke for other people on other channels. We going to get there. All right? First of all, let's get the housekeeping out of the way. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Also, the sponsor of the show, Tiege Hanley. 30% off your first order plus 20% off for life. You've seen the commercial in the very beginning of this live stream. Make sure y'all tap into that. Also, make sure y'all tap into the Q show tonight. It's going to be lit. If y'all been missing the latest Q show, oh, snaps. Time Dog just got a confirmation. Looks like we will be doing a sponsorship pretty soon. They had to meet the expectation. The numbers had to be right, but we going to talk about that on Patreon. I got a new Patreon video that's coming up for y'all. We going to talk about that on Patreon. Woo! Shout out to our water people playing the game. They said, we want to align with you. I said, I believe in you. I believe in you. We definitely going to get there. So shout out to our water family in the building. We're going to talk about that a little later. But again, if y'all not a part of the Patreon and if y'all not signed up to line up with what we got going on in that, then you're missing out. Also, Q show tonight on the Anton Daniels channel. That's been absolutely awesome. Shout out to them. And then last but not least, I want to give a shout out to my first super chat of the day. Shout out to my dog, Anwar Williams. Says, be safe, friends. My buddy from high school, sister got shot by her ex this morning. She's in stable condition. America Gone Wild is the label for the 2020s. Jesus. Ryan Wang says, I love you, Anton. I love you too, Ryan. I love you too, Ryan. Listen, before we get started with the show, let me say this. I had an epiphany this morning. I had an epiphany this morning. So this morning I got up, I went to the gym, and I'm feeling great. I had a full night of sleep because I didn't even live stream yesterday, so I was feeling great on that front. And as I was going through and I was lining up the different people that I felt like was worthy of me responding to, shout out to the Shoe Make Way. I'm definitely going to be visiting you soon. Most of the things that we got going on in society is self-inflicted wounds. And then we also have to be our brother's keeper. Yeah, we got to be our brother's keeper. And the reason why it's necessary for us to be our brother's keeper is because sometimes, now you got a few different categories of people. Some people don't know any better, meaning they operate out of ignorance, but they're not completely absolved from being responsible for the things that's happening to them. And the reason that they're not absolved from being responsible for the things that happen to them is because the children are the ones that pay for the sins of their parents. Let me say that again. The children are the ones that pay for the sins of their parents. So what I do ultimately is going to affect my daughter. And then that's when you then start to get a generational curse, right? It's not about the things that happen before you. It's about whether or not you can break the generational curses. But in order for us to do that, we have to remove the excuses so two things can be true at the same time. First, thank you, J. Ben. I'm definitely going to be having that conversation soon. First, you have to be able to hold accountable the people that did you dirty. Now, Anton didn't do you dirty. Anton is the one that just called out the atrocious behavior that then forced you to rethink how it is that you live in, and then it forced you at that point to then go back and look at how you got there in the first place. How you got there is not just because of what you said and what you did in your own self-inflicted wounds. That's a part of it. It's a large part of it. But another part of it is you got to break the generational curses by understanding how you got there in the first place. People that came before us, the generations before us, the X's, the boomers, all of those people, they hid all of the things that was going on in their lives, and they lied to us. And they said, oh no, everything was great. But they was going through it too. And everything was very, very bad on that front, right? And so now we got to go in and we got to uncover all of those skeletons. Mama had a baby out of wedlock. Mama was cheating on daddy, even though daddy was with her the whole time. We didn't have all of the technology that we have today. And so now you got to go back and you realize if you go to Ancestry and you start to do your DNA test, wait a minute, your father ain't really your father. So now you're operating under the guise that things are, but they aren't, right? But does that absolve you from being responsible for who you are? Absolutely not, because you still got a life to live. So mama put you under duress. I get it. I understand. That's the part that we acknowledge. Then what you gonna do? Now you got to make the adjustment. And the first thing that you have to do in making the adjustment, they going to tell you to take accountability. They going to tell you also to hold your mama accountable. I agree with all of that, but that's not the first thing. The first thing that you have to do is you have to remove the emotion from how you feel about the situation so you can make a better decision. That's what your mama taught you. This is what your daddy didn't tell you. That's what your mama taught you. That's what your daddy didn't tell you. In order to be successful in life, listen, there's a method, there's a way. You can follow any way you want to. You can follow any content creator you want to. You can follow Dave Ramsey. You can follow me. You can follow Anthony O'Neill. You can follow, I don't care who you follow. You can follow anyone you want to. The first thing that you got to do is you got to remove the emotions so that you can make a logical decision. If not, you're always going to crash out. Let me solve for something really quickly. You're always going to crash out. Before you can get to the money, you got to fix the character flaws. You got to fix the issues. You got to fix the issues within yourself. We've conditioned ourselves to make emotional decisions on a regular basis, and that's how you crash out. Because it only takes 1 minute to crash out. It only takes a second, a split decision for everything to go. You can fight your whole life. You can work, you can grind, you can hustle, you can condition yourself. You can do the right thing for the next 10 years, and it only take 1 minute to mess it all up. An emotional decision to mess it all up, and it can all go down the drain. We watch it every single day. One situation, one circumstance, one flaw, one issue. The greater you become, the bigger the stakes are. The greater you become, the bigger the stakes are. All right? So you can do the work. Go back and then hold your parents accountable. Cool. Then fix yourself. Awesome. You can get into a marriage. You can get into corporate America. It takes one situation to ruin your whole thing. You can go off, haul off, and hit somebody. Next thing you know, you catch a felony, you go to jail, your record is ruined, and you'll never be able to get the opportunities that you would have had you not held yourself together. Say the wrong thing, get emotional over a woman, don't have any dick discipline. Next thing you know, she the chick that's going to ruin your life for the rest of your life. You tied to her for the next 18 years. Find yourself out in the streets. You're making a lot of money. You leveled up and you're in corporate America. You started your business. Have one situation where you then ruin the reputation of your business because your business is not now tied to you. When we talk about the women that you marry, one bad decision in marrying the wrong woman because she's a representation of you, she can ruin your entire life. We see it happen with the turkey leg hut. We see it happen with businesses all the time. One wrong person you align with from a business perspective, they ruin your whole life. Accountability is only one part of the equation. Accountability is only one part of the equation. You got to do the work. You got to be successful, right? Who you align yourself with, your friends that you're taking with you. Think about who you're surrounding yourself with right now. Are they built to go down that road with you? When we talk about relationships, relationships is very much parallel to what you do from a financial perspective. How you operate in one thing is how you're supposed to operate in everything. When you look at the friends that you're surrounding yourself with, right? A lot of people say, well, I'll make the adjustment when I get there. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're going to fail. You're going to fall. They're going to take you under. The very friends that you're hanging out with right now are the ones that's going to be there with you when you level up. Guess what? They not leveling up also. The things that they say that they do, that's friendship, is not ideal for what it is that you need in order to be successful. It don't mean that they bad people, but it means that y'all growing in two different directions. It means that y'all growing in two different directions. Don't get distracted. Never make an emotional decision. Always be careful. Be very, very, very careful with what it is that you're doing. Don't find yourself reacting. Life is 10% of what happens to you, 90% of how you react to it. Life is 10% of what happens to you, 90% is how you react to it. You know, let me give you one example, a little small example. I remember one time, people came to me, right? And they said, Anton, angry man, you an angry man, y'all must be beefing. Angry man is this, angry man is saying this and that. And I said, you know what? Interesting. So I went over and I went and checked out Angry Man, and Angry Man had all love for me. And then we wound up connecting. We wound up connecting in Detroit. He flew to Detroit. We kicked it. We made some great content. Me and Angry Man is friends right now. That's my guy. That's my dog. That's my dog. Real talk. Life is 10% of what happens to you, 90% of how you react to it. Never make an emotional decision. You stay cool, you stay calm, collect. As a matter of fact, for all of my fellas that's watching this right now, let me say this. For all of my fellas that's watching this right now, I want you to understand this. All right? Make sure that whenever you feel in a certain way, you sleep on it. Anything that you do, this is one of the number one things that you should do. The number one things that you should do. Whenever you feel in a certain way, whenever things is happening, whenever you feel like you got a purchase that you want to make, no matter what it is that you do, make sure you sleep on it. Make sure you sleep on it. If you want to buy a car, you go in a dealership and it seems like they offering you a good deal and you can get the car right now, don't do it. Sleep on it. If you think it's a woman that you want to get at and it's just too good to be true and all of this, and she just, don't do it. Sleep on it. If she not there in the morning, if she not available, a day or two after that, don't trip on it. It wasn't yours in the first place. If the dealer is telling you, hey, man, I can get you this car right now, isn't it? That car ain't going nowhere. Ain't nobody else trying to buy it over you. Sleep on it. Everything that you do not be pressured. Do not make an immediate decision. Do not make an emotional decision. Don't do any of that. Sleep on it. Every single decision that you make, sleep on it. Don't ever make an immediate decision or an emotional decision, even when it comes to arguments, even when it comes to problems in corporate America. Do not react under no circumstances. I don't care how you feel. And listen, emotions are for everybody. Everybody has emotions. Everybody get passionate. Everybody feel a certain type of way about a lot of things. Your boss gonna say something to you. You don't react. You don't go in and say something. You just chill. Okay, you know what? I hear you. Absolutely, I'm gonna take that into consideration. And you sleep on it. Chill, cool heads prevail, because when you sleep on it and you cool and you calm, guess what happens? You control the situation. You control it. When people say stuff or people throw videos and stuff like that, I don't react immediately. I sleep on that junk. If somebody say something out of line, I don't jump out the window. And the inside, you may be angry. If something say somebody to piss you off, you find out that you may be flustered at the wrong thing. It could not even be true. It might not even be true. Or the person may not even meant it that way. Or the person may have said something in jest. Most misunderstandings, 98, 99% of misunderstandings come from people overreacting to a lot of things that don't even mean what you thought that it meant. So you just sit on it, sleep on it. And everything that you do it strategically. Everything that you do it strategically. Never, ever, under any circumstance, make an emotional decision. Ever. All right? Come on, y'all. We got to grow up. We got to be adults. Y'all ready to get to it? Y'all ready to get to it? All right, let's get to it. Let me acknowledge a few of the super chats, and then we're going to go ahead and get started with the show. I'm expecting for it to be a phenomenal show today. Shout out to J Ben. J Ben says, tonight's conversation slid through Phoenix, Arizona last night. Randy Rosario is dope in real life. Shout out to my girl, Randy. That's my little sister. Says, shout out to her. I don't know them other people. It was a time was had. I don't know them other people, so I'm keeping it moving from that. Shout out to my dog J Ben, but shout out to Randy. That's my homegirl. That is my girl. All right, Young Haiti is in the building. Shout out to Young Haiti. Says happy belated birthday, bro. I will do that Zoom call soon. I'm in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Shout out to my Grand Rapids people. I appreciate you. Michael Anderson is in the building. Says happy late birthday, bro. Sorry for being late. Had car trouble over the weekend that took me out of commission. I hope you enjoyed your relaxation. Much love. Wish you many more, big bro. Shout out to you. I appreciate you. King Stannis says, shout out to the Pacers playoff berth. Shout out to the Pacers. You like that, Q? Man, I got no love. I got no love right now. I'm on a different type of time. Y'all gonna find out soon enough. P. Shank says, good morning, Mr. Anton Daniels and the Millionaire Morning Show. Shout out to P. Shank. I love you. Philip Sadiq always holding me down. Shout out to my dog, Philip Sadiq. Listen, everything has got to come back to the front of the congregation. Everything got to come back to the front of the congregation. Yeah, we making old things. All things got to come back. All things got to come back. All right, let's go ahead and get to it. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. Let's get to it. All right, y'all. So again, make sure y'all hit the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Also, Tiege Hanley, 30% off your first order plus 20% off of life. Your car got that link in the description. And we're going to go ahead and get to it. Y'all ready for Quick Hits? Quick Hits is a segment of the show that we don't necessarily... Yeah, Q. Quick Hits is a segment of the show. Q taught me to be like this, y'all. It's Q's fault that I'm like this. Q done turned me bad. Hey, hold on. Y'all want to blame? Hey, y'all, I think everybody in the chat need to blame Q for turning me bad. Yeah. Quick Hits is a segment of the show that we know is dedicated to keeping you guys up to date of what's happening out here in these streets. Man, Monday night, it's going to be lit tonight. Let's get to it, all right? First things first on the docket is, I know y'all heard about this. I kind of talked about it a little bit. On the Anton Daniels channel. But young, teenage dude, woman going into church, they knocking heads over. Young teenage dude stalking y'all grandmothers on their way to church and they knocking heads over. Check it out.
16-year-old in custody for that vicious attack on a 68-year-old woman.
Yeah, the woman was headed to church in Queens Sunday morning when a suspect punched her and sent her down the stairs. Fox 5's Antoine Lewis has been following this story this week, and he is live for us in Briarwood, Queens, with the very latest. Antoine.
Chris and Bianca, last night, shortly after the arrest, the NYPD Deputy Commissioner for Operations, Cass Darktree, sent out a tweet. I'd like to read it to you. It says in part, this violent criminal is where he belongs, in handcuffs. And to be perfectly honest with you, out here and across the city, nobody's going to disagree.
The NYPD arrested the 16-year-old repeat offender last night around 9 and quickly threw him in jail. He was wanted for a despicable attack on 68-year-old Irene Talion-Boris. The mother and grandmother was on her way to church services last Sunday when the suspect runs up from behind her as she gets to the top of the steps and with no regard strikes her, causing her to fall down and backwards to the sidewalk. And as Talion-Boris is lying there with critical injuries, surveillance video shows him stealing her purse, which contained her wallet, credit cards, and $300 cash. Police say that he also stole her car keys and her vehicle. Detectives add that the suspect has had multiple felony arrests, mostly involving robberies of women.
And again, as you come back to us live, we went inside and spoke with some of the people at the church. They declined to go on camera, but they did say they've been in touch with Miss Irene's family and that she is still recovering. She is still in critical condition, but stable. As far as the suspect, police arrested him, again, 16 years old. He is right now facing robbery, assault, grand larceny, and criminal possession of stolen property. We're about to go over to the county courthouse now to find out what more information we can get you from there, and we'll have a complete report coming up today at 5 o'clock.
I don't care what color you are. I don't care if you're a man or a woman or anything like that. Number one, keep your hands to yourself. Number two, these children is out of control. They're not even kids. These is monsters. They're out of control. Number three, we used to have standards, or we used to have, no matter who you were, no matter how bad of a person that you were in the community, there was always a line that you just didn't cross, right? You never hit the old people. Even if the old person was a crackhead on the street, like, you never did. Like, he was just a crackhead. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just let him go. Whatever. That's crackhead Ronnie over there. You never hit old people. You never, ever attacked the church. You just didn't do certain things. There were certain things, like violence stopped on Sunday. It even stopped on Sunday in The Wire. But it was just certain things that you just didn't do. But I guess all of that is out the window. There is no code. There is no lines you can't cross. There is no code. There is no requirements. There is nothing anymore. You can do whatever you want to do when you want to do it. It's madness out here. Y'all better be careful. Also, on top of that, two police officers. We're going to deep dive into the police today. A little bit later in the show, 2 police officers was killed near Syracuse, New York. Check it out.
Now to breaking news in upstate New York. 2 law enforcement officers have been shot and killed after a traffic stop gone wrong in Syracuse.
The suspect was also fatally shot. CBS News' Christina Fan joined us live from the newsroom with the latest on this tragic case. Christina.
Mary and Chris, the Syracuse police chief, called the fallen officer and sheriff's deputy heroes after they were fatally shot in an exchange of gunfire with the suspect, who was also killed. Authorities say the incident started off as an attempted traffic stop. 2 Syracuse police officers were trying to pull over a suspicious vehicle around 7 p.m. Sunday, but the driver took off. Officers tracked the car by license plate to a home on Darien Drive in Liverpool and asked for backup from the Onondaga County Sheriff's Office after learning the suspect might be armed. Officers found the car at the home and saw what appeared to be guns inside.
They heard what sounded like someone manipulating a firearm from inside the residence. Moments later, there was an exchange of gunfire between at least one suspect and the officers and the deputies. As a result of the exchange of gunfire, 1 SPD officer and 1 Onondaga County Sheriff's deputy were struck by gunfire, as well as the suspect.
The police chief says the Syracuse police officer who died had about 3 years on the job. The sheriff called his fallen deputy a seasoned law enforcement officer who was very well liked in his community. Authorities say the scene is still active this morning as they wait to search the suspect's house. In the newsroom, Christina Fan, CBS 2 News.
Police officers really get no visibility in society. And if you look at most of the news cases or most of the protests and the things that happen, police officers get no visibility. I mean, look, you could be a chick on a Mississippi boat and people are going to have a whole conversation about whether or not the Mississippi brawl and what. Every single day, on average, a police officer is harmed. I'm going to highlight, because I have so much respect for the people that actually protect us and serve us and, you know, is grinding every day, and, you know, the divorce rates and the possibility of them even getting married or being able to hold their family together based off of the lifestyle that they have to live and the people that they have to serve, and they have to put they putting their job before their own family. They don't really have a life. Most of them don't even get to retire. Most of them don't get to retire with their families intact. That's how difficult the job is. We have a lot of respect for the military. We got a lot of respect for firefighters. But police officers, they get no love. So I'm definitely going to highlight that, and rest in peace to their family. You know, it's a very difficult situation to listen to, but it's a lot of police shootings happening every single day. No, cops get no respect. Cops get no respect. That's cap. But let's continue. And then last but not least, a suspect was killed in a shootout. But here's the thing. It's not that we're not used to seeing this. This is a normal thing, a normal occurrence. The other part of it is this, is that not only was a suspect killed in a shootout, but why was the suspect free in the first place? Check it out.
Meanwhile, many are wondering how a violent offender can get out without bond and commit a heinous act. 18-year-old Jalen Blobley, one of the suspects, died in the shootout with police.
And you know, it was not his first run-in with police. Our April Thompson joins us now after learning more about Jalen Blobley. April, what do you know?
Greg, when 18-year-old Jalen Lobley got into a gun battle with police this morning, it was on the heels of being released without bond from jail at 201 Poplar. But for the crimes he was in for, many are asking, why was he out in the first place? 18-year-old Jalen Lobley was no stranger to Memphis police. We found court documents related to his arrest just last month, an affidavit connecting him to 2 car thefts on March 2nd and 3rd. March 5th, police were called to a Whitehaven home on Richland, listed as Lobley's address, for a suspicious vehicle. They say they found Lobley asleep in the driver's seat. They say he had a Glock 19 9mm handgun, which had a Glock switch attached that turned it into an automatic machine gun, which Police Chief C.J. Davis mentioned Friday morning after Lobley's deadly encounter with police.
He was also charged at that time for 2 stolen vehicles and having a programming device commonly used to steal cars.
Lobley was jailed, but the next day, a judicial commissioner gave him a $10,000 bond. At a bail hearing, another commissioner released him on his own recognizance with only a curfew from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. Shelby County District Attorney Steve Mulroy's office said our office strongly argued against lowering the bond, citing the defendant's danger to the community. Despite our arguments, the commissioner approved the ROR bond, highlighting a problem people have been complaining about in the courts: criminals getting out and committing more crimes. We went to Lobley's home, as many ask, why was an 18-year-old out at 2 a.m., especially now that we know he had been put on a curfew. When we reached his mother by phone, she told us, "Do you think I really want to talk to you when my son was just killed?" But many in the community just wonder, when will it stop?
Children involved crime in the city is really getting out of hand. It's ridiculous. But more has to be done. It has to be done. Parents have to be held accountable for their children.
Thank you, man. Listen, this is the first woman that I've actually seen on an interview for something happening to where she actually told the truth. She says parents need to be held accountable for their children. Let me give her a round of applause. Parents need to be held accountable for their children. No, she didn't blame it on the mayor. Nope, she didn't blame it on the federal government. Nope, she didn't blame it on the system. Nope, she didn't blame it on the community centers, the recreation centers, the taxes. She didn't blame it on nobody. She said, listen, at the end of the day, when you get done talking and you keep saying mama's baby, papa's maybe, and all of this, parents need to be held accountable for their. It's that simple. It ain't a black thing. It ain't a white thing. Parents, I am responsible for my daughter. I am responsible for my daughter. It is the reason I only had one. I was very, very careful, and that I wanted to make sure that I was going to pour everything that I could in order to ensure that she had an opportunity to be great. There's no reason why she should need student loans in order to go to school. Not with me being born here in the United States of America. Not with my parents being born here in the United States of America. Not with our great-grandparents being born here in the United States of America. There's no reason why my daughter should be on the streets. There's no reason why she be out there on her own. There's no reason why my daughter should need student loans to go to school. There's no reason why I shouldn't be able to level up and make it. Because I've lived my whole life for the last 16 years that she's been alive to ensuring that she comes first. I can't blame anything except for myself. Whether she's successful, I'm going to take the blame for that, or she fails. It's my responsibility. I own it. She didn't ask to be here. Blaming everybody but who y'all supposed to be blaming? The person in the mirror. Ladies and gentlemen, that's your quick hits. Let me go ahead and read some of these super chats, and then we're going to get started with the show for real, because I got a show lined up for y'all. Oh, we're going to bring Chicago to the front of the congregation today. The Fairy, my girl, Fukari Fairy, says, I was once told planning and having a can-do attitude are the secrets to success, yet the two biggest problems I see with most organizations. Shout out to I Am a Little Different TV. Thank you, Fukari Fairy. I appreciate you. Got a few from Deacon Weasel. Says Chicago mayor would care if they were illegals. We need to care about ourselves, man. I'm never going to depend on nobody in order for me to make sure that my family is taken care of. Crime is happening because we need resources. Nope. Crime is happening because we don't have no character and we bad people. Deacon Weagle says use that migrant money for black communities. Nope. No one loves black kids, not even their parents. I think everything needs to be on an individual basis. I don't think that we need to singularly narrow a focus to one thing unless we speak into the majority, right? So we need to make sure that we say that. AJY says, these are the judges and politicians y'all vote for. What about the parents and the women that we choose to lay down with? We'll get there. We'll get there. Responsibility needs to go across the board. Thank y'all for continuing to support the platform. Let's get into the real show. So, I've been for a long time giving a lot of grace to Chicago. I know it don't seem like it, but I definitely have. I've been giving so much grace to Chicago. Let me take a sip of water before I start talking about Chicago. I've been giving so much grace to Chicago. You know what? I love you too, AJ. The reason why I've been giving so much grace to Chicago is because there's been so much happening everywhere else. In New York, you know, originally, for those of y'all that originally came into this, you know that the original title of this stream was called Oakland. Because I had planned over the weekend, I said, man, Oakland is so bad. They've been doing car run-ins from the police. They've been running into the police. It's been taken. I've been getting so many articles just coming up my live stream, coming up, people have been sending to me. Oakland, Oakland, Oakland. So the whole thing was supposed to be about Oakland. And then I get on the internet this morning and I see mass shooting in Chicago, little girl killed. This and that. You mean to tell me it's not a large gathering? It's not a large gathering? So I had to put Oakland on the back burner. Maybe tomorrow, depending on how the news go. I had to put Oakland on the back burner. I did. Because I said, I can't just keep ignoring what was going on in Chicago. Did y'all know that it was over 40 people shot in Chicago over the weekend just because the weather warmed up? We gonna get there. We gonna get there. Listen, if you a good person in Chicago, if you a good person that's in the metro Chicago area and you have the resources to be able to get out, run. Don't wait on Mayor Brandon Johnson. Don't wait for Lori Lightfoot to come back and do an investigation in Dalton. Run. Run. We'll get there. Let me help y'all to see what was going on over in Chicago, in Chi-Town. Y'all keep saying, Anton, why you keep holding Chicago accountable? Well, why y'all keep killing people in Chicago?
A child is dead and several other children and adults are hurt after a mass shooting on Chicago's South Side. Tonight, Fox's Nate Rogers talks with the victim's family about what happened.
Tell me about your 8-year-old niece that passed. The good times, the special memories.
Well, she's my goddaughter. So I was at her baptism. I was a godfather, so I still have my picture in my wallet.
Balloons, candles, and a cross now honor Princess Ariana Molina, dead at 9 years old.
My niece, she got shot in the head right next to me. When I threw myself, then when I turned around to see what happened, when the shots were done, like I heard she got shot in the head.
It's a pain that cuts deep. An entire family shot. Hours after celebrating a holy confirmation, Emilio Molino was right there.
I went and tried to help another person, one of my cousins. He got shot in the hand and it went through his ribs too.
The shooting happened near 52nd and Damon around 9:15 Saturday night. Relatives recall hearing at least 50 gunshots. Police responded after a shot spotter alert of 18 rounds. The family was outside about to cut cake.
It was 3 people. I saw them. I just couldn't distinguish any faces. As soon as I saw people running and throwing themselves, I just threw myself too.
This was not a random act of violence. It was likely gang-related.
We don't have anything to do with gangs. We stay away from them.
Could they have been after some?
Look at the tree behind them, y'all. Look at the tree behind him. They spray painted the tree, family. Hey, remember earlier in the year when I was telling y'all that Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson said that they was not going to renew the shot spotter contract? Well, guess what? Guess how the police was able to respond so quickly to the mass shooting, not large gathering, mass shooting that was happening over there in Chicago, in the south side of Chicago. Shot spotter. So the thing to keep y'all neighborhood safe from crime is the thing that we're going to go against. We're going to remove shot spotter. We're going to ask for $70 million more. Think about it, y'all. Come on. See, in order to have these conversations in truth, a lot of times what you have to do is you have to take different articles and different things that we have a conversation about, and we have to say, okay, let's put this together and let's put this together. So what they were doing is they asked, Mayor Brandon Johnson is asking aldermen, Illinois, taxpayers for $70 million more for migrants. They said that we're not going to leave nobody behind. They're getting rid of shot spotter. They cannot add more precincts or allow for more cops to come on the street. They're cutting the budget because they're adding so much money into things that's not relevant. And little girls and kids and 9-year-olds is getting shot in the head when they go and cut cake. See, being a good mayor or public servant is not just what you didn't do wrong. So you can have a clean background. Listen, I'd rather you have a dirty background and do the thing that's in the best interest of the people than to have a clean background and just completely run the city into the ground. When it comes to you doing your job, I'm going to just be honest with you. When it comes to you doing your job, I don't care what you doing in your household. I have a standard when it comes to the people that I choose to do business with, for example, in my own business. Meaning that I may not necessarily do business with you when you're doing this and that, so on and so forth, but I'm not going to prevent you from being able to do your job. I don't necessarily align with the fact that the alphabet community. But guess what? It's some people that I work with in corporate America that is exceptional at their job. And they don't talk about who they sleep with. And they just so happen possibly to be a part of the alphabet community. And the only way that I can do that is based off of assumption. But that's just assumption. That's not something that they talk about. That's not something that they talk about on the job. And so as long as they keep their private business to themselves, do your job. Now, I may not necessarily agree with it, but listen, I'd rather have you doing that job that we trying to be successful at than somebody based off of diversity, equity, and inclusion that's not good at their job and we just getting them in based off of identity politics. I'd rather have a person that may have a spotty background as far as what they, I don't care if you cheating on your wife and you just so happen to be the mayor of whatever, so on and so forth. Listen, as long as that's not affecting you keeping these neighborhoods safe, and I'm not saying that you should or that you shouldn't have good character and be a great representation of what the city is supposed to be. But what I'm saying is anything is better than what y'all dealing with in Chicago right now. Anything is better than what y'all dealing with in Chicago right now. I mean, good God, Jesus, they're taking away. They asking for $70 million more. They over budget. They spending hundreds of millions of dollars every single month, every single year in the migrant crisis, and you guys can't even keep shot spotter in your own neighborhoods. I mean, in an ideal situation, it would be great to have somebody that fits both, that, hey, maybe you are a good representation and you have great optics and you're doing the right thing for the city. But if I got to pick one or the other one, give me the person that's going to do the right thing for the city. If I have to pick, if you're forcing me, if I got two people and you say, hey, man, this man over here, he busting them down for a real one. But then at the same time, he is exceptional at his job and he don't sleep when it comes to doing the greatest job possible. And then this guy over here, he stays in the house and plays video games every day, but he's completely incompetent and he's doing the worst thing for this. Give me the nigga that's busting it down for a real one. I would like to have one that got both, but if you force me to choose one, give me the one that's giving me shot spotter over the one that's continuing to give us the migrant crisis.
Somebody that was at the party.
No, it was all family. We don't associate with anybody, so it had nothing to do with us.
9-year-old Ariana was shot in the head and died at the scene. A 1-year-old and 7-year-old were shot twice in the stomach. Police say 8 adults were shot as well, men and women between the ages of 19 and 40 years old.
1-year-olds getting shot in the stomach? Good God. Jesus Christ. I feel like I didn't hear that. Let me see something.
1-year-old and 7-year-old were shot twice in the stomach. Police say 8 adults were shot as well, men and women between the ages of 19 and 40 years old. The family now beyond shock. Today outside the home, bullet holes. 1, 2, 3 vehicles with windshields shattered. The head of this Virgin Mary shot as well.
The offender's actions, make no mistake, are horrific and unacceptable in our city.
This is insane.
A 9-year-old girl was shot and killed, and 10 others were hurt during a family gathering on the city's southwest side.
Christine Flores is at Comer Children's Hospital with the details. Christine?
Well, Larry and Robin, good morning. That shooting brought 4 kids here to Comer Children's Hospital. One of them has since died. That same shooting also injured 7 adults. Chicago police say they responded to a shot spotter alert in the 200 block of West 52nd Street in the Back of the Yards neighborhood just after 9:15 Saturday night. Now, once on scene, they found several people who had suffered gunshot wounds, 7 adults, 3 of which were critically wounded, and an 8- and 1-year-old boy who were shot multiple times and listed in critical condition, as well as a 9-year-old boy who was listed in good condition after suffering a graze wound to his finger. Now, according to police, the shot spotter picked up 18 rounds fired at the location. Now, according to the Chicago Sun-Times, a 9-year-old girl was shot in the head and rushed to Comer Children's, where she was pronounced dead a short time later. The father identified the girl to the Tribune as Ariana Molina. Walter Butts is pastor of Mount Carmel Children's God of Baptist Church, located just steps from where that shooting happened.
Heartless people who don't think that these are children.
This was not a random act of violence. It was likely gang-related. Regardless of the motivation for this incident, 3 innocent children were struck tonight, and one of them tragically succumbed to her wounds.
And Mayor Brandon Johnson released a statement yesterday sending condolences to the family, but also talking about resources that will be available following this incident. That includes mass canvassing as well as financial support for the impacted family and increased 9th District CPD presence. For now.
That's what I said, Meshy Michonne. I said the same thing. Anyways, it's interesting though, right? And I'm going to tell you why it's interesting. Before I read the super chats, let's just come on over. Let's come on over. Come on over to the front of the congregation, Chicago. Let's talk about it for a minute. That wasn't the only thing that was happening in Chicago over the weekend. It wasn't. It was a lot going on in the city in Chicago over the weekend. Let me bring you guys up to date and up to speed of what's happening.
Yeah, Lululemon is cleaning up this morning after a smash and grab. Several people were also robbed very close by. It comes as the mayor and the police plan to talk about what's being done to prevent these kinds of crimes. A rash of robberies and a burglary had police busy early this morning in the Lincoln Park neighborhood. This Lululemon on North Avenue in Sheffield was hit. The window of the high-end fitness clothing store was shattered, with merchandise scattered on the floor. In addition to this, 3 different people were robbed nearby at around 5 o'clock this morning. In the 1300 block of North Avenue, a man was getting out of his car when a dark-colored sedan pulled up. 4 to 5 people got out with guns and robbed him.
The caller says that the offenders fled in a black sports car or Camaro, fled southeast direction.
Minutes later, another man was robbed in the 1800 block of North Halsted by 3 armed people who also got out of a black sedan. And right after that, another victim who was walking in the 1600 block of North Sheffield was robbed at gunpoint after a physical altercation with several people in masks and hoodies who were also getting around in a dark sedan.
All right, guys, these string of robberies may be related. We all have several males with guns in a black sedan. One ticket said possibly a black sports car or a Camaro. Just caution, guys, they're armed.
This comes as Mayor Johnson and Police Superintendent Larry.
Look at Mayor Mohawk. Look at Mayor Mohawk. Check this out, y'all. Hold on. This can't be real life.
Just caution, guys, they're armed.
This comes as.
Look at Mayor Mohawk, y'all.
Mayor Johnson and Police Superintendent Larry Snelling prepare to speak about the city's response to robberies at a news conference today. Back here live for business owners especially, smash and grab crews have cost them a lot of money, and many are fearful of being robbed on the street. So that news conference is expected to get underway in about an hour at CPD headquarters.
And you know we're going to be reviewing that tomorrow, right? You know we're going to be reviewing that tomorrow. That's a fact, though. But no. Not multiple different people just walking around, no police after them, no none of that. Just, robbing people. You on your way to work, you walking to the bus stop, you trying to get to school early. Crew of black people. Or I'm sorry, let me not say black people. They didn't say that. I take that back. Maybe they Mexican, maybe they white, maybe there's, I don't know. I mean, for some reason, I just think that they probably fit the description. But we're not going to assume. We're going to give them grace, give the criminals grace, and they jump out and they rob you. But that wasn't the only thing that was going on in Chicago while babies was getting shot.
Violent weekend in Chicago where at least 40 people were shot, 7 people were killed. Authorities say 4 children were among the victims in one incident. Details now from ABC's Alex Perez.
40, at least, that we know of so far. They still canvassing. They still trying to identify different people because there's gunshots and, stuff everywhere. But at least 4. Listen, the weather is the best that it's been all year. It was the first weekend where it was super warm and it was above 70 degrees consistently over in Chicago. And when the weather get warm, the criminals come out, the arguments start, the gangs start getting a little bit more active, and then the kids start getting shot in the belly. 40 at least that we know of. Y'all not scared? Look, when y'all go out, anybody that's around me, if they say, oh man, y'all want to go to Chicago, I'll be like, nope. Then they just start laughing. They be like, oh yeah, we better listen to Anton. Don't go there, go over there to Pittsburgh. Listen, I'll put y'all on a flight. Y'all can go down to the design district over in Miami. Go to Nashville. Go hanging out down there. All of the big popular tourist destinations that used to be on a, hey, we got to go here when we get older and all of that. When you was young, you was a teenager. All of those places is wiped out. The places that you got to visit now is off the beaten path. Go to MKE. You know what I'm saying? Don't go to New York. Don't go to New York. You might be able to do a little bit better in certain parts in Boston. They got good public transportation systems. I like Boston personally. Don't go to Chicago. Go to Kentucky. You know what I'm saying? Don't go. Don't go to Oakland. Go hang out in Vegas instead. San Francisco, canceled. All of these places is over. It's over. It's over. All of your, you got to find the off the beaten path places now. There's some, go to Boise, Idaho. It's awesome there. Have y'all ever been to Boise, Idaho? Boise, Idaho is lit. Go to Boise, Idaho instead of going over there to anywhere in California. Nope. Boise, Idaho, that's on the list. I don't go to the popular destinations. I go hang out in Biloxi, Mississippi. Biloxi, we just be hanging out. We be at the pool, kicking it, having a good time.
Tonight, Chicago police combing for suspects after a deadly weekend of gun violence. Multiple incidents injuring at least 40 people and killing 7, including 9-year-old Ariana Molina.
EMS Plan 1 for multiple people shot, 2021 West 52nd Street.
This, the aftermath after the girl was killed Saturday night. A witness telling police a black sedan approaching a crowd of people gathered outside for a celebration on the city's south side. A gunman then opening fire. 11 people hit, 4 of them children. Little Ariana shot in the head, dying from her injuries. Her heartbroken father tells ABC News she was wonderful and helpful and was everything to me. The shooting, police say, was likely gang-related.
The offender's actions, make no mistake, are horrific and unacceptable in our city.
The incident comes just...
Look at this. Look at this. Look. More protesting.
Hours after community activists marched calling for peace.
We're all hurting and we all...
What did I just tell y'all last week on Friday? What did I just have a conversation with y'all about on Friday when they was doing this march, when we were seeing what was going on in Chicago? I was preparing y'all. This is why I did all of that streaming, because I was preparing y'all to be in the house, because I was telling y'all that marching and all of that stuff don't matter. I just had a conversation with y'all before the weekend started. Before all of these people got killed and murdered in Chicago, I had a conversation with y'all. I said, hey, listen, y'all, don't do it. Be careful. Make sure that you don't do this. Stay in the house. Don't get yourself caught up. I just talked to y'all. I said, these people is protesting and it don't even matter. Man, ain't no gang members looking at no protests and saying, we just gonna go in and turn our life around. Bro, you talking to monsters. You can't negotiate with a terrorist. Have y'all ever tried to negotiate with a criminal? As soon as you turn your back, they're gonna stab you in it. As soon as you turn your back, they're going to stab you in it. You can't negotiate with terrorists. You got to make an example out of people. Hey, we going to march. Stop the violence. Stop the violence. Stop the violence. Stop the violence. Hey, hands up. Don't shoot. Don't shoot. Hands up. They can be like, oh, man, there's some easy targets over there. Follow him home, follow him home, follow him home, and make sure you follow him home. Hey, hands up. I'm an innocent pedestrian. Don't shoot. That's the come up. Path of least resistance. Hey, Ray, make sure you stay over there at Mook Mook. Get him.
And not just Chicago coping with gun violence this weekend. Overnight in Dallas, 9 people shot after a party there ended. Authorities say a 21-year-old woman struck in that shooting died at the hospital.
And Lindsay, 2 of the children injured here in Chicago were hospitalized in critical condition. No arrests have been made. Lindsay?
Just agonizing there.
Don't worry about it. We're going to get there. We're going to definitely get there. This is more Chicago news, ladies and gentlemen. More Chicago news.
Tonight, everyone from Mayor Brandon Johnson to community advocates at a groundswell of response to this tragedy on the southwest side. The shooting itself is now the 9th mass shooting to take place in the Chicago area this year. CBS 2's Andrew Ramos with the concerns growing as we inch closer to summer.
Now, statistics show violence often surges in the summer months, and with the official start of summer just weeks away, this latest mass shooting has left many on high alert.
We're in trouble, Chicago, And some people need to realize the trouble we're in.
Chilling words from the front lines as the city and its surrounding areas grapple with yet another mass shooting. The latest happening Saturday night in the back of the yards where a 9-year-old girl lost her life. 10 others left wounded. Mayor Brandon Johnson, calling the tragedy beyond reprehensible, announced a response plan which will include a mass canvassing event happening in the neighborhood on Monday, where the community will get access to behavioral teams, victim services, and case management. So far this year, there have been 9 mass shootings in the greater Chicago area where 21 people have been killed and 31 others wounded.
I mean, it's mental health, it's substance abuse, it's poverty.
In recent years, the Chicago Police Department has rolled out strategies to deal with the uptick of violence, especially as the weather gets warmer. And data suggests it has been effective, where shootings, both fatal and non-fatal compared to this time last year, are down 3.6%. But multi-victim shootings, which include mass shootings, are up, a concerning.
So wait a minute. I'm just curious because you know me. I'm in the data. I'm in the statistics. I'm trying to understand things, and I'm looking at it objectively, hopefully. And so I'm trying to understand this for a second. So shootings are down, but multi-victim shootings are up. So multi-victim shootings shouldn't be a part of shootings? So I'm assuming that they say, oh man, well, this was one shooting. So this one incident is making sure that it goes down. But if 40 people get hit or 10 people get hit, those are each individual instances. Those are 10 people that got shot. So multi-victim shooting don't go into shootings? Don't go into shootings? Hey guys, hold on. Shootings are down. Well, multi-victim shootings are up. Now listen, I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer. However, I'm always trying to understand and I'm trying to decipher whether or not it makes sense or it doesn't make sense, okay? So they telling me that shootings are down, but multi-victim shootings are up. What? Next thing you know, they're going to start saying, hey, listen, guys, young people shootings are down, but shootings between the ages of 18 through 44 might be exploding a little bit. Well, what the heck is young people shooting?
8.2%.
When you get everybody outside, it could be a range of things. Like
Rodney Phillips has been a violence prevention outreach worker for more than 15 years. Addressing and preventing conflicts, he says, must come from those who know the community best.
You got to have a license to operate in these communities. You got to be from these communities. People don't care. You got to show them how much you care.
Now, as the investigation.
So I'm supposed to make friends with criminals. No, that's why they move. That's why you move. You move as far away as you possibly can, and you align yourself with people that's going in the direction that you're going in. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. No, you get far away. I don't need permission to be able to walk down a public street that I paid for. It's paid for with my tax dollars. So you saying that I got to get permission to walk down the street and take my dog outside from dudes that don't even own any piece of the community and is basically squatting. Y'all squatting, but y'all took over. Okay, I got you.
Into Saturday night's shooting continues. The city has announced that it will be providing financial support to the family of the child who passed away this weekend.
But here's the interesting part about this whole situation, right? So as we look at all of these shootings and mass shootings, I know that he wants to say they're just large gatherings, but as we look at this stuff, right, and we observing what's happening within our communities and the fact that violence is out of control and we throwing money towards the wrong things, the Jewish leaders that is supposed to meet with Mayor Johnson last week or next week is saying, listen, we don't even want to talk to you. All Jewish aldermen, Jewish leaders, they said that they're not even meeting with Brandon Johnson. They don't want to talk to him. They don't want to kick it. They think that he's divisive. They think that he's a liar. He's bad for the community. He's a horrible leader. I'm not saying it. I'm telling you what they're saying. Listen, check it out.
Ravi, in a scathing letter, the city's only Jewish alderperson and 2 Jewish members of the General Assembly questioning the mayor's ability to lead. They and others declining an invitation to be part of a mayor's roundtable this Monday.
I do not feel that the Jewish community feels that he's got our back.
Northside Alderwoman Deborah
Neither do I in the black community, but neither here nor there.
Silverstein, State Senator Sarah Feigenholtz, and State Representative Bob Morgan telling the mayor in this letter, before calling for a roundtable on anti-Semitism, a true leader should begin by demonstrating a modicum of empathy for the Jewish community.
We need our mayor to unite us instead of continuing to divide us.
Their letter takes Mayor Johnson to task for casting the tie-breaking vote to pass the city's Israel-Hamas ceasefire resolution.
And I vote aye.
And for not condemning what they say were anti-Semitic chants and flyers at a student walkout the day of that vote.
They were praised for walking out, but what about the Jewish kids that go to CPS? The Jewish kids whose parents call me and say, my child is afraid to go to school. What are we doing about them?
The letter also accuses the mayor of relative silence amid growing anti-Semitism in the city, which has included several incidents of anti-Jewish flyers and substances being left on cars and doorsteps.
He has a lot of fences to mend. I hope it's not irreparable, but he needs to make a move.
This evening, the mayor's office declined to comment on that letter. Leaders from 2 prominent Jewish groups, the Anti-Defamation League and Jewish United Fund, tell us they've also declined the mayor's invitation for similar reasons. Cheryl.
Oh, you pissing off the people that matter the most, Mayor. Mayor. Yes, Anton. Excuse me? I said that you're pissing off the people that are throwing their dollars around in the community in order to ensure that they funding this campaign. Are you going to do the right thing? I'm sorry? Listen. We have much more pertinent things to address in the community. We've had several unfortunate events during these large gatherings of young people, and my condolences go out to the family. We're going to do a mass protest and canvassing event. And during that canvassing event, anybody that commits these horrendous crimes against humanity needs to bring themselves forward, come get forgiveness in the church. I have the Archdiocese on speed dial. They can come and take communion. They can confess their sins, give their life over to Christ, and then hopefully, they can do some volunteer work in the community to make sure that this never happens again. That this never, ever, under any circumstance, happens again. And I give you my word that we are going to canvass the community. We are going to talk to church leaders. And more importantly, I don't want you guys to call this a mass shooting. That is something that has been labeled by the media, and the media is always trying to manipulate things. Crime is down, even though multi-person shootings are up. And I didn't even want to say that stat, but they're saying that I have to say it in order to not be misleading the people. But more importantly, these are large gatherings, and it's just 1 or 2 individuals that got out of hand, got a couple switches on their gun, and they decided to let loose. Now, I'm telling you that we have grief counselors available. Grief counselors are available. They're fully staffed, and they're on reconnaissance and waiting to speak to the families. And I don't condone it, but I will not let you guys say that this is a large gathering under no circumstances. No, absolutely not. Not on my watch. And we will not have anybody, including any illegal migrant, left behind under no circumstances. That's why I'm putting an extra $70 million behind this migrant crisis. We've used up all of the emergency money, and we tapped into our COVID funds. I would hope that Governor Abbott down there in Texas would get the message. Thank you. No more questions. Shout out to Brandon Johnson. Putting more effort into making sure that beard got that Billy Goat gruff. got his mayor mohawk popping. He's going to be more famous for what he looked like than he is for what he's doing in Chicago. Shout out to Chicago. Shout out. Let me read some of the super chats, and then we're going to continue over with the show because I want to appreciate the people that's pouring into us. Why is the South Side the worst part of every major city in America? I don't know. I have no idea whatsoever. Common Man 80 says, Anton, I hate listening and watching to you because it seems like I'm talking to myself because I say and think the same thing. What the F? You ain't my kid? Yeah. Shout out to Common Man 80. Not 79, 80. J-Rock24 says, don't come to Miami. We don't want you. No, we coming to Miami. We coming to MIAO. Everybody from Chicago, you are invited officially to the MIAO. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Cody Marshall says there was a shooting in New Orleans in the warehouse district last night. 12 injured, 1 dead. This violence has to stop. Nope. You get what you asked for. Shout out to my dog, Preston Walker. Says, no to Boise. Says, don't want the problems. Many Idaho bag chasers live here. Stay bag chasing, my friend. Shout out to my chasers. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Brandon Barnes came through and says, they don't want programs. They want change. Y'all don't want no canvassing? Chris Moore says, C students are the best players. Deacon Weasel says, can we call in the show today? No. I give you guys availability to call on Wednesday night, and then y'all can call on Tuesday on After Hours, Thursday on After Hours, and then Saturday on After Hours, all right? So we give you guys 4 days a week to be able to voice your concerns and your complaints. If you guys don't find an opportunity to do it then I can't help you because the Millionaire Morning Show, we got to stay on point. We got to get to the news. We got to take care of business, all right? But I do appreciate you, and that is a good question. We used to do call-ins, and then we had one stalker that messed it up for everybody. Yeah. We had one stalker that messed it up. He said, Anton, let me get a coaching call. Next thing you know, you're sending me crazy emails. Some of you guys are familiar with it, but don't worry about it. We're going to get to it. Listen, we got to continue to get to it. All right, police officers. I think that they get a bad rap. Shout out to my dog, Fi Brown. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Shout out to Shadow Dragon TV. I appreciate you. Police officers, I think that they get a bad rap. There are some bad ones. But I think that there's more good ones than bad ones. There are more good police officers than bad police officers, and I think that they get in a bad rap. But more importantly, similar to the story, the very first thing that I played, actually the second thing that I played was police officers over in Syracuse, New York. They got murdered. But the one thing that we don't see, and I don't know if it's just not a popular conversation or it's not a popular subject, but the one thing that we don't see talked about on the news, shout out to Honey Dip, it's what's happening to our beloved police officers. What's happening to our beloved police officers? I'll tell you what's happening to our beloved police officers. Check out what's happening down in Memphis. I heard that it's rough over there in Memphis. I'm going to go to Nashville. I might skip over to Memphis.
Calls for an end to the continuing violence we're seeing in Memphis after a police officer is killed in the line of duty. This is during a shootout with teenage suspects early this morning. Now, 2 other officers were also hurt. An 18-year-old suspect was killed, and the second suspect is in the hospital this afternoon. Demetra Wilburn is learning how this tragedy unfolded.
A trail of Memphis police officers and multiple ambulances leave the area of Horn Lake Road and Hewlett Road. One of them is carrying Officer Joseph McKinney, who died following a shootout. 2 other officers were also shot, but are expected to be okay.
The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation is leading the case. You can just see how massive this scene is. We've learned that law enforcement has several portions of this neighborhood blocked off. In fact, a few people who live in this area tell me that they cannot access their homes because it's blocked off due to the investigation. We're actually standing just feet away from where those officers were shot.
Memphis police say officers responded to a suspicious vehicle call around 2 a.m. This man, who doesn't want to be identified, says he had seen the car several times the day before.
Supposed to have been doing donuts in the street.
MPD says when officers approached the vehicle, the men inside the car opened fire, striking the 3 officers. Officers fired back, hitting the 2 suspects. The suspects fled the scene, but officers were not far behind. A witness tells us he saw officers chasing after that vehicle.
As I get ready to pull out, I seen the car coming by real fast, 2 police cars coming. Looked like the car that they was chasing, hit speed bump, kind of lost control, and then the cop car stopped behind it. Then I kept hearing people yell, "Get down, show me your hands."
Several blocks away on Hewlett and Ford, the suspect's vehicle was found sitting in someone's yard, riddled with bullet holes. Both teenage suspects were rushed to the hospital. 18-year-old Jalen Lobley died from his injuries. A 17-year-old is now hospitalized in critical condition.
That was Kamitra Wilburn reporting. Now, Chief Davis also said the 18-year-old suspect, Jalen Lobley, was no stranger to the law either. Court records show he was arrested last month, faced several charges, including auto theft and having a machine gun. When police found the stolen car at his home, they say they discovered a stolen 9mm gun with 30 live rounds and a Glock switch.
Yeah. Rest in peace to the Memphis police officers who will never, ever, ever be able to see their kid again. Rest in peace to the Memphis police officers that woke up this morning and they made the determination that it's a possibility that I may not come home, but I still have to do my job and I got to protect the citizens within the city. Never, ever going to see their family again. Don't worry about it. So we got officers in Syracuse, New York that died, officers in Memphis that died. Seem like a pattern?
It's a dark day for Syracuse. This is our worst nightmare come true. And our thoughts right now are with the families of those 2 officers, those heroes.
A dark day for police departments and first responders across the state. Welcome in on a somber Monday morning. I'm Ryan Dean. Kate will have your forecast in just a few moments. But first, Central New York hearts are waking up heavy after 2 police officers were shot and killed. We have full team coverage this morning. Rachel Polanski is off the desk and in the field. She's anchoring the show from the town of Salina, the scene of last night's tragedy. Downtown is News Channel 9's Andrew Donovan. He'll have more from Upstate University Hospital in Syracuse. Let's start with Rachel. So, Rachel, what do we know so far?
It's a somber day for our brothers in blue. This is where that shooting took place. I'm on Darien Drive in the town of Salina, where neighbors are just waking up to a pretty active police presence. So here's what we know so far. All of this began around 7 o'clock last night. According to Syracuse police, officers tried to pull over a suspicious vehicle. The driver took off and officers lost sight of the car, but they had the plate number. And that's what led both Syracuse officers and Onondaga County Sheriff deputies to this home in Salina.
While they were inspecting the vehicle and saw what looked to be guns inside, they heard what sounded like someone manipulating a firearm from inside the residence. Moments later, there was an exchange of gunfire between at least 1 suspect and the officers and the deputies.
As a result of that gunfire, 1 Syracuse police officer and 1 Onondaga County Sheriff's deputy were killed in the line of duty. The suspect was also killed. Right now, police are not naming any of those involved as they are still notifying all of the family members.
But, and that's unfortunate. It is unfortunate. But there are some rogue police officers, and they're calling them and they're bringing them to task. And see, this is the thing. I think that we should bring everybody to task that's not doing the right thing, but make sure that we acknowledge the people that are doing the right thing and hold them up in prayer and in support.
There's a different kind of gang problem in Los Angeles County. The people meant to serve and protect a population of more than 9 million people, allegedly part of powerful gangs going back decades, according to watchdog groups and the alleged victims of their crimes. Groups of LA sheriff deputies with threatening names like the Banditos, the Cavemen, the Executioners. The deputies rep their cliques, tattooing their bodies with logos and throwing up gang signs. The gangs facing allegations they use violent excessive force against Angelenos.
To me, they're punks. The people that killed my sons, that executed my sons.
And intimidate fellow deputies who don't play along.
Dead rats in front of people's homes.
The terrorizing behavior costing the LA County taxpayers a fortune. The Inspector General's office counts $54 million in settlements involving deputy gang activity. The first obstacle to eradicating them, though, many past sheriffs dispute their very existence.
Well, you're still trying to pretend the deputy gang exists and work in the countryside, pillaging.
The investigation continues.
But the current sheriff, Robert Luna, who took office in late 2022, went public with his efforts to combat the problem.
We must eliminate deputy gangs.
A city and state approved civilian oversight commission released a 70-page report last year on how the sheriff's office should crack down on them. The commission's special counsel telling us they turned over a list of more than 20 recommendations. But so far, members of that oversight board, as well as attorneys for the victims, say Sheriff Luna hasn't put a stop to the gangs like he promised.
It's a lot bigger than one sheriff. It's sheriff after sheriff, administration after administration.
In a statement to NBC News, the LA Sheriff's Office say they've drafted a new law enforcement gang, clique, and subgroups policy, but that it's still under negotiation with the powerful deputies union.
So wait. You telling me that they got to form a department within a department in order to root out the gang activity within the department? The department has drafted, now y'all can see why I don't necessarily care for unions. Why? Because they even protect gang members within the community that's supposed to be serving you. The department has crafted new law enforcement gang, clique, and subgroup policy, which has been reviewed by oversight bodies and is now in negotiation with the labor unions and in the meet and conferences process. Have y'all ever watched a movie called The Departed? Have y'all ever watched this movie called The Departed? It was with Jack Nicholson, Matt Damon, Leonardo DiCaprio, and so many others, right? And in The Departed, and I'm not going to tell you what happened or what not happened, within the department, you had multiple different people that come from shady backgrounds. And Jack Nicholson, who was supposed to be a mob boss, actually had these people groomed since they was in birth, or since they were birthed, or they was young kids, to ultimately be the people that were leading up in what was happening inside of the police department. And so they was leveling up, they was becoming great, and in exchange, Jack Nicholson would feed them different rivals and different information that would allow for them to continue to get promotions and raises. But in a general sense, what was happening was they had eyes on and they controlled what was happening within the police department, even to the point to where they was getting heads up of what was happening before it happened. That's what you see happening here. And you know what they being protected by? A union. You can have all of the tattoos. You can be throwing up gang signs. You can be calling pictures. And guess what? You still out there to be able to be on the prowl. Taxpayer dollars for wrongful settlements, over $50 million. Still out there being able to do what you want to do. And it's these type of police officers that ultimately give the ones that's doing what they're supposed to do a bad name. So then it makes it seem like it's all police officers, when in reality, it's not but a few. Oh man, you gotta watch The Department, Fi Brown. If you haven't watched The Departed, that's an incredible movie. It's got Leonardo DiCaprio, Matt Damon, Jack Nicholson. It's a lot of people in that movie. It's some really, really great acting in that movie. Really great acting in that movie. But Mark Wahlberg. Mark Wahlberg is in that movie. He's a cop. And so it's a lot of interesting moving parts. But it basically gives you a better perspective of what police officers move like when they dirty and they in certain departments. And instead of us focusing on rooting it out, you got unions that protect them.
Policy, but that it's still under negotiation with the powerful deputies union.
We don't get it! Burn it down! We were trying to publicize the existence of the deputy gangs and put the community in power over the gangs and over the sheriff department itself.
In the meantime, a growing chorus in LA who say it's time to stop waiting for the county or the sheriff to clean things up.
If this gang problem isn't promptly solved, that the next logical step will be federal litigation, the appointment of a monitor, and oversight by a federal judge.
Other police departments who struggled with different issues like excessive force and police bias in cities like Detroit, Seattle, and Pittsburgh all saw what officials say were significant improvements under federal oversight. But the Department of Justice so far hasn't moved in that direction. NBC News reached out to the DOJ for comment but haven't heard back. If these alleged gangs are dealt with, it won't be soon enough for people like Sergeant Rosa Gonzalez.
Hey, hold on. Wait. We give recommendations and saying movies and stuff like that. And there's people in the chat that's saying that they haven't seen the movies. Why are y'all trying to tell what happened in the movie? Stop. Let the people watch the movie for themselves. We just gave a general overview of what the movie was about. Y'all not supposed to be trying to tell what happened at the end of the movie. Good God. Come on, y'all. Let the people be able to watch the movie for themselves so that they can then understand why I'm saying what I'm saying instead of fumbling and good Jesus. Come on, y'all. Stop. Good God. Don't tell the movie. Let the people find out for themselves.
She was retaliated against for speaking out against the East LA Banditos. Gonzalez declined an on-camera interview with NBC News, saying doing so would mean facing further consequences, proving the stronghold these supposed gangs still have over one of the largest populations in the country. Priya Sridhar, NBC News.
So, it's cops on both ends of the spectrum. It's and I like to be objective and I want to give it from both perspectives. There's cops on one end of the perspective that's being killed in a line of duty trying to protect and serve, and criminals are going against them, and those are the ones that we need to celebrate, and those are the ones that we love. And then there's cops that's dirty, that's out here using the police force as an opportunity to be a gang and to take advantage of the community. So, largely, I believe that police officers are good. I think that they come into it doing the right thing. I think for the most part, shout out to Quentin, I think for the most part, we need to celebrate them, and then we need to, on an individual level, root out the bad actors and remove the union that's then preventing us from being able to find out who is who and what is what, and then doing the right thing. So, shout out to all of the good police officers out here running it up. For the bad police officers, we need to hold them accountable. Let me read some of the super chats and then we're going to move on. We got to get to some more presidential news and international news, okay? Fa Brown says, late fee because I got caught in a 1238, no fumbling on a Monday. Hey. No late fees. You doing the right thing. You getting that bag. Time Dog is on the clock too. Shadow Dragon TV says, happy belated birthday, big dog. Hope you enjoyed your weekend. I slept. It was a good weekend. Blessings to you for making it another year, more success, and a healthy living this year. Appreciate you always. Thank you, Shadow Dragon. I appreciate you. Honey Dip says, yo, do you sound exactly like that fool? Shout out to Brandon Johnson. Onion Green Onion says, I got this super sticker for you. Thank you. Man, hold on. You threw the 50 ball up there. Shout out to Green Onions. I appreciate you, big dog. Also, my girl sister said, Mr. AD, is there better news about the treatment of the police in Florida or Texas? Today's story is, no, it's not. Police officers catch a L and they suffer all across the board. And so I'm very, very thankful for the police officers that continue to do their job because they make it easier for us to be able to live our lives. LA Chief told y'all last year they can't protect. They did. You remember that, huh? Chris Moore says, and the public say you knew what you were signing up for. Wow. Freedom Kev Podcast says CGA was on IG Live and gave you a shout out days ago. Shout out to my guy, Coach Greg Adams in the building. We love Greg Adams. We love what he's doing. We love the messages that he has. Shout out to Coach. We love Coach over here. And tell Coach I said what up, though. We love his message. Joe Gun 84 says, Anton, it's time to get that BMW M1000 RR sport bike so you and Quentin can ride out. Hashtag midlife crisis. Nah. I think I'm going to stay away from the motorcycles. I got my little bicycle, though. I rode it in today. I ain't even drive. I got my bicycle. Civlap says the good cops usually adhere to the old blue wall of silence. Peer pressure is a B. We don't know that. That's just an assumption. I think that most cops are good and most of them are doing the right thing. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm. Subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. If you have not already, make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Now, 45. Shout out to 45. Trump. Trump is starting his hush money trial. I've never seen a president under this much scrutiny in my entire life. Not one. I've never in my life seen a former president under this much scrutiny and duress, especially over there in New York and Manhattan. It's crazy, bro. Insane in real life.
Donald Trump has arrived in court and he is set to become the first former U.S. president to face a criminal trial. This comes as the Republican nominee is fighting his battle to retake the White House. Katie Lyons is tracking this story. Trump has arrived, we understand, at the court. What did he have to say?
Well, Manis, he repeated lines that we have often heard from the former president in regard to the many legal cases he is facing. This, of course, just being one of 4 criminal indictments he has faced. On his way into the courthouse, he spoke with reporters saying this is an outrage. This is political persecution. It's a case that never should have been brought. Of course, this case was brought by Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, who has charged him with 34 felony counts of falsifying business records related to alleged hush money payments paid to porn star Stormy Daniels in the days ahead of the 2016 election. Trump has pleaded not guilty to all of these charges, and he is right now in the courtroom sitting at the defense table as these proceedings get underway. They are historic, the first time a former U.S. president has ever stood criminal trial, and what they kick off with is jury selection. This could be a lengthy process that could last 1 to even 2 weeks as they try to weed out jurors who can be impartial and fair in assessing the fate of former President Donald Trump, who, of course...
Now, you know that that's impossible. You know, I don't like it when people say, oh my, like, because context matters. And when you're talking about a former president or you're talking about, being judged by a jury of your peers, look, we all know that previous judgment, especially from a financial perspective, of the woman that allegedly says that he wanted her and all of this other type of stuff, that he didn't actually do nothing to her, but it was just a civil trial. We all know that that's a crock of bull crap, bro. Honestly, think about it. Hey, can you be impartial? And do you know anything about Trump? I don't know nothing. I'm going to be impartial. I'm going to just look at him as a regular person. It's literally impossible for a person, especially in the social media era, and you're a former president, and people have a vested interest and they basically take a side of whether they with you or against you. It's really impossible for you to have a fair trial. I'm just telling you. Seriously. It's impossible.
is the presumptive Republican nominee. And to that point, Manis, this could have serious political consequence for him. He is required to be here in person at the court every day of this trial, which will be every weekday except for Wednesday. That will keep him off the campaign trail. He is spending a great deal of resources on his legal defense, and potentially, depending on what the verdict is, this could impact outcomes of the vote in November. A Bloomberg Morning Consult poll of swing state voters back in January surveyed across the 7 swing states likely to decide the outcome of the 2024 election. More than half of them say that if Trump were to be convicted of a crime, they would not vote for him come election day.
Which is, in my opinion, one of the reasons why they're trying to do this in the first place, is to distract you from the thing that we actually care about. Seriously.
And Kaylee, in terms of...
And then Trump, here, let me pivot for a second. He said what he wanted to say, and he spoke about it ahead of his trial. I also had read that a judge was trying to put a gag order on him and prevent him from being able to speak publicly about the trial in the first place. But this is what he had to say.
Happens. This is history happening right before our eyes. Let's listen.
Nothing like this has ever happened before. There's never been anything like it. Every legal scholar said this case is nonsense. It should never have been brought. It doesn't deserve anything like this. There is no case, and they've said it. People that don't necessarily follow or like Donald Trump said this is an outrage that this case was brought. This is political persecution. This is a persecution like never before. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. And again, it's a case that should have never been brought. It's an assault on America. And that's why I'm very proud to be here. This is an assault on our country. And it's a country that's failing. It's a country that's run by an incompetent man who's very much involved in this case. This is really an attack on a political opponent. That's all it is. So I'm very honored to be here. Thank you very much.
Hey, everyone. MSNBC.
I believe that that's exactly what it is. And I don't think that you can honestly say that it's not exactly what it is. Unfortunately, I think that they're actually making him bigger. This opportunity to try to distract him from being on his campaign and stuff. And it just, think about this for a minute, y'all. Oh, man, we just going to happen to bring all of this stuff up and make sure that we prosecute it in the actual election year. We're going to prosecute this in the actual election year. Make sure that all of this stuff happens in 2024, right before the election. Come on, man. Y'all think that this is logical? Y'all think that this is actually real? Y'all think that this is not planned? I don't know if y'all remember, but they say that the Atlanta mayor and Fannie Willis actually met with the vice president of the United States of America over in the White House right before the charges was filed against them in Georgia. Come on, man. Why y'all can't just beat them fair and square? Just beat them for real, in real life. Just beat them fair and square.
Here we go. Happening today, former President Trump's historic New York hush money trial begins with jury selection, making him the first ever former president to stand for a criminal trial.
That is a big deal. Brooke Singman is here with all the details this morning. Hi, Brooke.
Hi, guys. Yeah, it is. The jury selection process could take up to 2 weeks. Now, potential jurors will be asked 42 total questions, including which cable, print, and social media platforms they get their news from.
The Millionaire Morning Show. Hey, guys. Which cable networks, online media, websites, blog, or social media do you get your information from of what's going on as far as your news? Come on, man. Stop. Look, it don't even matter what side of the aisle you on. You know that this is all silly. There's no way that you can get an actual real trial, a fair trial, when you somebody that's popular. Tory Lanez was convicted in a court of public opinion. And so I can go in there and say anything. I don't know. I don't only get it on Bloomberg News. I only get it on Bloomberg. I don't get it on anything else. Stop, bro. Stop.
They will also be asked if they have ever attended a Trump campaign event, if they follow him on social media, and if they have ever attended anti-Trump rallies. Judge Merchan, who is overseeing the case, says there are no questions asking prospective jurors who they voted for or who they intend to vote for or whom they have made political contributions to. Now, the former president is facing 34 felony counts of falsifying business records. Those charges are related to an alleged cover-up of a hush money payment to adult film actress Stormy Daniels ahead of the 2016 election. Now, on it,
y'all do realize that they're prosecuting him for Stormy Daniels. They're doing a huge prosecution over in Manhattan about Stormy Daniels. Stormy Daniels, my dog. Jesus Christ. Stormy Daniels. He's literally about to go on trial for Stormy.
its own, this alleged crime is a misdemeanor, and the statute of limitations has already run out. So Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg must prove that Trump intended to commit a separate crime in order to secure this felony conviction. Now, the former president's lawyer says the facts are on Trump's side. Listen.
One of the craziest things about this case is the fact that what we're dealing with here are misdemeanor offenses that through this weird legal alchemical process, Alvin Bragg has attempted to convert into felony offenses. I truly believe the truth is on President Trump's side, and there's nothing that any of these witnesses or anything the New York DA can do to change that basic fact.
Trump is expected to attend this full trial. He says, quote, "I will be fighting for myself, but much more importantly, we'll be fighting for our country. Election interference like this has never happened in the USA before, and hopefully will never happen again."
Well, I guess we just going to keep in mind what's happening. I'm going to be following it. I'm going to keep you guys up to date so that you guys stay informed of what's happening out here in these streets, man. I do think that this is unprecedented. And it's unfortunate that they're trying to manipulate in my opinion, I think that they're trying to manipulate what's going on in the election. And they're not doing a good job of hiding it. They're not even trying to hide it no more. Shout out to Tanisha. Says, I got this super chat for you. Thank you, Tanisha. I appreciate ya. Chris Moore says, that's why Brandon Johnson says it's a large gathering. Shout out to you, Chris Moore. I appreciate you, big dog. And then the cultivator says, what up, though, AD? Thank you for the value. No, thank you for continuing to rock out with me, big dog. Thank you to all of the super chats and the people that has tapped into the Patreon. You guys are absolutely awesome. I can't wait to be able to meet y'all and kick it with y'all in person. All right, last but not least, got to go international. Iran's attack on Israel. Biden is in the pickle. We want to kind of talk about two different things. Biden's reaction to it, and what's going on with regard to Iran and Israel. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications.
Iran tonight launched a swarm of drones at Israel as air defenses lit up the sky and exploded over Jerusalem.
For the last several minutes, we've seen these flares streaking all across the skies over Jerusalem. And now, for the first time, we're hearing the air raid sirens.
It's a developing attack that is unfolding in slow motion. The drones take several hours to travel roughly 700 miles from Iran to Israel, giving the Israeli military and its allies time to divert, jam, or shoot them down.
We are closely monitoring Iranian killer drones that are en route to Israel sent by Iran. This is a severe and dangerous escalation. Our defensive and offensive capabilities are at the highest level of readiness ahead of this large-scale attack from Iran.
Iran says the attack is revenge for an airstrike on Iran's embassy compound in Damascus nearly 2 weeks ago that killed 7 members of Iran's Revolutionary Guard, including 2 top commanders.
Now, I'm largely believing that we got enough on our hands and fighting a whole bunch of proxy wars in the first place, right? Jonathan Anderson, I don't know if I seen your super chat. Let me see. I'll check and see if I miss a super chat in a second, Jonathan Anderson. But I believe that we fighting enough proxy wars as it is. But correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, I did read that super chat, Jonathan Anderson. Shout out to you. I appreciate you. Says LA Chief told y'all last year that they can't protect. Yep, I had read it, big dog. Thank you, my friend. But now correct me if I'm wrong, and I might be a little bit off about this. But you don't attack anybody's embassy. Isn't that against the rules of engagement? Or isn't that like a hidden rule of engagement? Is that you're never, ever supposed to attack somebody else's embassy? Somebody fill me in. You never attack somebody's embassy. Now, I could be wrong. You know, my international understanding of war and the rules of war and the rules of engagement with regard to war may be a little bit dusty. I am a C student. But I am curious. Isn't that off limits? You never, under any circumstances, attack somebody else's embassy.
Though Israel has not acknowledged involvement, it is widely believed responsible. Iran's supreme leader said he considered the attack on the embassy compound to be an attack on Iranian soil. To stop the drones and clear a path around them, Israel tonight closed its airspace, canceled flights for the next 2 days, and disabled some GPS location services. Israel is also canceling schools and all gatherings of more than 1,000 people through Monday. Hours before the launch was detected, President Biden today cut short a vacation weekend in Delaware, returning.
Wait. Biden was on vacation? I ain't even took a PTO day this year. And I'm not running. I'm not even running the country. Wait. What's in Delaware? Where's Camp David? Let me see. Biden was on vacation? Okay, so Camp David is in Maryland. I'm just trying to figure out what's in Delaware. I ain't even took a PTO day. I ain't took one PTO day this year. And he was on vacation. He said, all right, y'all, we got to get back on the road. What the heck is... I thought the country was in shambles. The country ain't in shambles?
To the White House to consult with his national security team. Yesterday, the president said an Iranian attack could come quickly.
My expectation sooner than later.
President, what is your message to Iran in this moment?
Don't.
But Iran isn't listening. Earlier today, Iranian forces abseiled down, boarded, and captured an Israeli-linked cargo ship in the Strait of Hormuz.
And Richard, there are reports that some of these drones have already been shot down.
So the Israeli Air Force has already deployed. Its goal is to shoot down drones before they enter Israeli airspace. But Israel is not working alone. The Israeli media report that British and American aircraft have already begun shooting down some of the drones over Iraq and Syria.
So according to the reports that I was reading over the weekend, they're saying that 99% of everything, all missiles, all drones were either shot down or intercepted, and that nothing happened. But Israel is absolutely, I guess, wanting to respond and go back or whatever like that. So this was Biden's response to what was happening, and whether or not they would support the United States of America would support a retaliatory attack on Iran.
How imminent do you think an attack on Israel is from Iran, Mr. President?
I want to get a secure information, but my expectation sooner than later.
What is your message to Iran in this moment?
Don't.
A Fox News alert, Joe Biden yesterday with that one-word warning to Iran, as the U.S. expects the Iranian regime to strike multiple targets inside Israel in the coming days. They're forecasting that.
So that's his message, is any retaliatory attack, don't do it, okay? Don't do it. Meanwhile, now, that's a general idea for a lot of you guys that are distracted by a lot of the things that's happening out here in these streets. And you may not necessarily be familiar with what's happening between Iran and Israel, so on and so forth, right? But here's the bigger thing. Here's the biggest thing right here. And I want to share this with you guys, because I was actually reading and studying this a lot more extensively. And I was reading whole articles. I think that the thing that I studied the most this weekend wasn't Drake versus Rick Ross versus all of the Avengers, wasn't Metro Boomin, wasn't Future, although that Future album did drop. The thing that I was very interested in, and I was doing a contrast and comparison, is what's happening over in Sudan. Are y'all familiar with what's happening over in Sudan? And the civil war and the conflict that's been happening for well over a year in Sudan, and that over 10,000 people are projected to die a day from starvation and malnutrition, and kids are dying every single day, and millions are going hungry. And the hunger crisis and the civil war crisis that's happening over in Sudan, it's not just over in Haiti, it's over in Sudan. Sudan is facing one of the biggest civil war and hunger crisis ever. So everybody, the whole world, think about this for a minute. The whole world is focused on Israel and Iran. Nobody is talking about Sudan. Yeah, y'all didn't expect for this to turn, did y'all? Y'all thought that this was going to be a completely different... Y'all thought that we was only going to be talking about Israel and Bishop Harrow and Iran and the drone strikes and stuff. Nobody is talking about... I haven't seen one content creator, not one. And maybe my sphere is a little bit short. I don't see no Blackity Blacks. I don't see Umar Johnson. I don't see nobody. None of these Hotep leaders, none of the ones that got the fringes. Nobody is talking about Sudan. Nobody. At all. I wonder why. I'm going to just show this really quickly, just so we can make sure that y'all keep it on your radar. And it's a lot of things that I need to be talking about from an international perspective, but I only do this show for 2 hours a day. I only do the show for 2 hours. I know people think that I'll be doing it online all day. Nope, I'm only on here for 2 hours a day. And then we got to do the show later on tonight, all right? And I'm on the clock for work right now too. Nobody is talking about Sudan. Oh, they ain't even let me play that one. Let me see if I can pull up a different video for y'all. I just want to keep y'all informed of what's happening. Hopefully I can pull up a different video and I can give y'all a better scope of what's happening over there.
Refugees fleeing fighting in Sudan arrive in Jeddah, a transit point between Sudan and South Sudan. 12-year-old Bahita Al-Mahad endured the grueling multi-day journey on foot shortly after being diagnosed with breast cancer. Bahita is feeling sick today.
Let me see if I can get a better accent so we can all understand exactly what's going on over here.
Sudan's conflicts described as the war the world forgot. Civilians caught up in the country's civil war have shared graphic accounts to the BBC of rape, ethnic violence and street executions.
Shout out to Psychedelic Sense. I appreciate you on Cash App.
We'll shortly show you some first-hand testimonies. But before that, top United Nations officials met today, saying the war has plunged the country into one of the worst humanitarian nightmares in recent history. The UN Special Rapporteur spoke to the BBC earlier and gave us this assessment.
That it is the largest as well as the fastest displacement crisis in the world today. The needs are staggering and they continue to rise. And all the positive indicators, food security, access to healthcare, reproductive health, we see these rapidly declining. And what we see are negative indicators, malnutrition, child protection issues, access to health, and rising food insecurity. These negative indicators on the rise.
Since April last year, Sudan's been torn apart by fighting between these two men. One heads up the country's military, General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, and the other is his former ally, General Mohammed Hamdan Daglo. He leads a paramilitary group, as we mentioned before. It's called the Rapid Support Forces, or the RSF, and together they took power in 2019. But the power sharing agreement that's resulted has now broken down, and it's led to fierce fighting.
Look at this foolishness.
Now, within Sudan lies another humanitarian crisis in the western region of Darfur, where the RSF's accused of targeting and killing non-Arabs, and there have been reports of hundreds of deaths. The RSF have repeatedly denied any involvement in the violence in the region, and they've called for an independent international investigation. The UN says that with 8.1 million people forcibly displaced and tens of thousands killed, these could trigger the world's largest hunger crisis. Well, the BBC's uncovered harrowing evidence of the violence experienced by women in that ongoing conflict in Sudan. The BBC's Mercy Juma reports from the Chad-Sudan border in Adre, and there's a warning that some viewers may find details in this report distressing.
Yesterday, 19-year-old Amina found out that she is pregnant. Within minutes, she will begin an abortion, desperately hoping that her family never knows.
It happened in Sudan. I'm not married and I was a virgin, except for the incident that happened.
This young woman, whose name we have changed, was trying to flee fighting in her hometown when she was captured, held for a day, and repeatedly raped.
I didn't tell anyone, and I don't think anyone knows.
The UN says the sexual violence experienced by women like Amina is a defining characteristic of the conflict in Sudan and has been used as a weapon of war. Amina is one of more than 600,000 people who have fled Sudan for camps like this one in neighboring Chad. She was helped by the international charity Médecins Sans Frontières. But other voluntary groups have also sprung up to support the large number of women who have been affected by either physical violence or sexual attacks.
So women over in Sudan are fleeing violence. They have a crisis on their hand and a civil war that's been happening since the beginning of time, but more recently, since one of his cabinet members traded on him in 2019. And women and these are virgins and stuff like that, and they flee, and then they get captured, and then they get raped. And so you got a humanitarian crisis, a hunger crisis where up to 10,000 people a day could be dying. Women are getting raped, civil war, country is completely plunged into chaos, and we continue to be distracted by things that's not even meaningful. Y'all are very, very privileged. I'll say this. Every day, I am very much thankful of where it is that I live, where I was born, where I was raised, and I try to add value into this world and leave this earth in a better space than it ever had been had I not been born. And we are out here making worse decisions, being distracted, self-inflicted wounds, voluntary ignorance, not thankful for being here, not making the most out of our opportunities. And it's people every day that's being plunged into chaos, and they didn't ask for it. So I'm not telling y'all to take a position on one way or another. I'm just trying to make sure that y'all stay informed every once in a while, and share some information that's beyond what we usually go by, and then hopefully add some more value into your lives every single day. All right. Let me read some of the super chats, and then I'm gonna get y'all out of here for the day. So we're gonna try to stay within that 2 hour range, and then we're gonna go from there. Shout out to Sister. Says, Mr. AD, that's why Trump has to go to court in NY to allow for Biden's vacation. I understand what you're saying, BizQ. I'm saying that the people that are suffering at the hands of it, the children are the ones that suffer for the things that happen for the people that before them. Most of us didn't ask for what's going on in the United States of America today. You know what I'm saying? We don't want our borders open. You could say as a collective we did because of the person that we voted for, but at the same time, it doesn't mean that we can't be compassionate. So two things can be true at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to you. Chris Moore says, ninjas all day. Appreciate you, Chris Moore. Also, Anwar Williams says, countries like Burkina Faso's Ibrahim Traoré, president in Mali, have started to reject the West, France in particular. Shout out to Anwar Williams. I appreciate you. My dog. Shout out to Chris James. Says, I appreciate you, Anton, for bringing things to light and providing awareness. Means a lot. So sad. Shout out to Chris James. Shout out to everybody that pours into what we're doing over here. Shout out to Psychedelic Sense. I appreciate you for the Cash App. And shout out to everybody that's tuned into the Millionaire Morning Show. Listen, I love you guys. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for continuing to rock out with me. Hopefully you tap in for the entertainment tonight on the Q Show on the Anton Daniels channel. And we can have some good conversations, some good debates, and then we can leave it all on the floor. All right? Good show. Good show. Shout out to Chicago. Y'all need to get it together. Memphis killing y'all police officers, not cool. Same for New York. Some police officers need to be rooted out, but we definitely need to support the good ones. Pray for the people over in Sudan. Keep informed of what's going on with Israel and Iran. And more importantly, make sure y'all do things that's in the best interest of your lives. And then make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Shout out to Quentin. Shout out to Q. Shout out to Osriel. Shout out to the chat because chat lives matters. I appreciate y'all. Love y'all again. Thank y'all for the birthday love over the weekend. Eric Daniels, you know I love you too, big dog, because I never want to live in an echo chamber. And shout out to all of the hate watchers. I love y'all too. Y'all help us do what we do over here. All right? Good stuff, y'all. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Let me make sure I give a shout out to Dakman 2018. Says, Anton, did you see the anti-Israel protests are blocking traffic across the country right now? No, I didn't see that. We'll talk about it. I'm going to definitely make sure that I maybe talk about it tomorrow. Thank you, Tamara. Thank you, Emperor. Thank you, Kojak. Thank you, sister. Thank y'all, everybody. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I need y'all to do me one more favor before we get up out of here, though. Make sure you share this with your family and friends. We don't want to be successful by ourselves. I love you guys. I appreciate y'all. Y'all are the greatest audience on earth. I'm going to talk to y'all later. Peace.